Okay, so if you remember, the last program that we talked about was this one, that the user is inputting the numbers one by one. At the beginning, he does not know how many numbers he will input, but when he has completed inputting, he will indicate that by entering a number maybe minus 32768, because any valid number that he enters is between minus 32767 to plus 32767. So once he enters minus 32768, we can the programmer can understand that the numbers have been already inputted, and I will have to work on these numbers. So there can be any length of numbers or any number of values that may be entered by the user. Now this time my point is, instead of outputting the sum, I want the max of this. That is the maximum of the numbers inputted by the user. Once again, user will keep on inputting and will end by inputting minus 32768. But amongst the numbers that the users have inputted, which one is the maximum number that has to be outputted by the program? Like over here, 23, 18, 41, 6, 19. We can easily see, and the output must be 41. Similarly, in this case, you look at this 123, 2, 31, 3, 21, 17. Definitely the max is 100, that you know. Question is, how can I write a program which will do this? Let me first explain over here. How you do this is very simple. What you do is, we can think something like that we will have a max variable. We will initialize that max variable to 0. We will initialize this max variable to 0, assuming okay 0 is the maximum number. Now I input, the user suppose inputs 23. So 23 is inputted in your next val variable, the variable which I was using last time. So the next val is 23. Now what I will do after scanning this next val 23, I will compare max and next val and see which one is greater. If max is greater, please understand this, if max is greater, then max is already containing the bigger number amongst max and next val. So I will not do anything. However, after comparing max and next val, I compare max and next val and find that max is greater. Max is greater. Definitely what will I do? I will do nothing. If max is greater, I don't need to do anything, because max is the variable in which I want to put the maximum number. I have initialized that max to 0, and if that max, I input that next val and compare max and next val. If max is greater, I don't do anything, because max is already containing the maximum out of max and next val. I don't do anything. However, if next val is greater, then I will assign this next val to max. I think understand. I assign the next val to max, saying this next val is greater amongst max and next val. So till now the maximum is next val. And then what will I do? I will go back scanning the next val. So I had scanned over here, scan next val equal to 23. So I will go back to the scanning of the next val. That is, where do I go back? I go back here. So this time, what do I scan? So this time I know, when I go back over here, max is 23 in our example. Check this. I started with max equal to 0. I scan next val as 23, this number. I scan next val as 23. I compare max and next val. Definitely in our case, max is not greater, next val is greater. I assign next val to max. So what is the value of max in our example? The value of max in our example this time is 23. Where do I go back? I go back here. So I scan the next val. What is the next val? It is 18. So I scan next val to 18. I compare max and next val again. If max is greater, do nothing. What is max? Max is 23, don't forget. In my previous iteration, max was 23. So next val has been scanned as 18. When I compare max and next val, who is greater? Max is greater. I do nothing, which means I don't go over here, I do nothing, I go back here. So when I go back here, what is max containing? Max is still containing 23, indicating the greater of 23 and 18 is 23. So I scan the next val. What is the next val? The next val is 41. I again compare max and next val. Don't forget, max is still 23. Out of max and next val, who is greater? Next val is greater. So if max is greater, do nothing. But if next val is greater, then max equal to next val. In this case, next val is greater. So what is max? Max is 41. So I go back over here. I scan the next val. What is the next val? Next val is 6. Compare max and next val. 41 and 6 have been compared. If max is greater, do nothing. But in this case, who is greater? Max is 41, next val is 6. Max is greater, do nothing. Because out of 23, 18, 41 and 6 till now, definitely 41 is greater and max is already containing that 41. So I do nothing. I go back here. I scan the next val, which is 19. I again compare max and next val. Max is 41, so max is greater. Do nothing, and I will definitely go out because I will input the next val as minus 32768. So in this case, I will have to check over here that whether next val is minus 32768. In that case, where will I go? I will go out here. I will go out of the program. So this is basically my structure of the program. So let me comment out this whole thing. Let this remain over here for everybody to understand, but I comment out this whole thing and start writing the program exactly in the structure that I have explained you. So this hash include stdio.h, conia.h is as it is. Now I start writing the program. The program will say first thing I need to do is max and next vals, max initiation. Max needs to be initialized to 0. So you declare the variable called int max and next val, but you also initialize max to 0, assuming that the maximum number scanned till now is 0. I have not scanned any number, assuming it is 0. So what will I do? I will say printf enter the numbers, but I will have to tell the user enter minus 32768 to end. Is not it so? I will have to tell enter minus 32768 to end /n, and I close this printf thing. Once I have printed, I know now the user will input the numbers one by one, and I will scan them one by one also. So while condition I will decide later. I know I need a while because I will have to scan the numbers one by one. So let me scan the numbers now one by one. Where will I keep these numbers? All of you know that I want to scan the numbers and keep it in next val. So scanf %d ampersand next val. I scan the next value, expecting that the first number will be entered the first time. When I come back to the loop, second number will be entered. But you remember, I will not do anything if next val turns out to be minus 32768. If next val turns out to be minus 32768, what will I do? I will break out of the while loop. So don't you understand? I can take this while loop as an indefinite loop, is an infinite loop. Infinite loop means it will keep on continuing without any condition. But within the loop, if I find the value of next val to be minus 32768, I break out of the while loop and go out. Simple. But remember, if next val is something, if next val is the next number like 23 or 100 or minus 45 or 65, whatever is your next val, I know very well, then I need to compare this next val with max. When will I take any step? If I find that this next val that I have scanned is greater than max, if my next val is greater than max, then the value that I have scanned now is greater than the maximum that was existing till now. Only then I need to assign this greater value next val to the max variable, because at any point of time max will contain the maximum number. I had started with the assumption that max is 0, the maximum number is 0. Now any time I scan next val and find that the value inputted by the user is greater than the max value, I will take max to that value. Max is equal to next val. But you remember, if next val is lesser than max or even equal to, I don't need to do anything, and that is what I am doing. I am not doing anything in the else part. Means if it turns out that max is less than or equal to next val, I will not do anything. I will simply come over here. My job is done. I can simply close the bracket over here and end the program. Please understand this, very simple. I have scanned the next value. If the next value is minus 32768, I break this infinite loop. Now if this next val that I have scanned is greater than max, I know that this next val is greater than the maximum that I have been assuming till now. So I take this, I assign this next val to max. Max always contain the maximum value, and it goes back to the loop and scans the next value. This time also, if the next value is greater than max, max will have that new value, new next value, and so on. However, at any point of time, suppose next value is lesser than max, then it is lesser than max, next value will never be assigned to max, max will contain the previous maximum value. In this way, whenever I scan minus 32768, I break out of the loop. So this will work absolutely fine. Let me run this program and check out whether it is working fine or not. So Alt R, run, enter the numbers minus 32768, 45, 23, 17, 19, 64, 18, 79, 41. Now I decide to end. I have entered enough numbers. Minus 32768 to end. Who is the maximum number? 79. Let's see what it says. Oh, I again forget to print. This is something that I forget time and again. Don't forget the printf at the end. Printf, the maximum number is. Where is the maximum number? Don't forget, it is in the max variable. So if I run this time, it will show. So once again, let me enter 23, 45, 79, 15, 41, 40 only, 37, minus 23, 64, 99, 12, 15 once again. So who is the maximum number? If I want to end now, minus 32768, who is the maximum? The maximum entered is 99. So check out, the maximum number is 99. So this is how you can write the program. Very simple. If you have to go through the program once more, next val is scanned. You have scanned your next val every time in the loop. Check it is minus 32768. You break out of the loop. If this new value scanned is greater than your previous max value, you assign this new value to the max. Max always, at any point of time, at the end of any iteration of the loop, max always contains the maximum value. So when you go out of the loop also, max contains the maximum value. So that is the program for you. We can end over here, and we can think that in the same way we could have used the minimum program also. Say suppose I was supposed to write the minimum, hardly I need any change. I can only change this max to min. I can tell the users to enter the numbers one by one, and the same logic remains if next value is minus 32768, break. However, in this case, minimum means I will have to check whether this next value is lesser than the minimum. I am assuming that minimum always contains the minimum number. Over here I have initialized it to 0, but I am assuming that the minimum always contains the minimum number. So if next value is less than minimum, then only I know that this new value that I have inputted is a lesser value than the existing minimum value. So the min will have to be assigned to that new value, min equal to next val. So over here also same thing I can do. The minimum number is %d, and change that max to min and run this program. It will run absolutely fine. 23 minus 15 minus 17, oh sorry, only 17, minus 16 minus 23, 99, 105. Now I want to end. Minus 32768. Who will be the minimum number? Definitely minus 23. Let's see, the minimum number is minus 23. So the program works absolutely fine. So we can end it over here. We'll come back with the next class. Thank you.